Hello, this video will walk you through the first two exercises of the discounting exercise spreadsheet. All right, so to start out, I've already got my student ID and my name in here, so we're gonna hit the start button. Once we get in here, we verify this is our student ID. It takes us to the first tab like always. All right, so I'm gonna hit OK. I'm also gonna zoom in so you guys can see the formula bar a little bit better. Notice the goal of this exercise is to discount a cash flow 1 year. So in this version of the spreadsheet I got, it says to build a model to calculate the present value of receiving $90 in 1 year, and we have a discount rate of 4%. When you're doing your exercise, those parameters or those input values are going to change each time. So whatever those are, that's what you're going to reference to do your problem. And we'll get to that in a second, but before we do, we just need to quickly review what is the formula we want to use here. So the formula is going to be that the present value at time 0 is equal to the cash flow at time 1 divided by 1 plus R, that discount rate. And so what we're going to do in our strategy here of our model is we're actually going to split those up to do the cash flow times 1 over 1 plus R. All right, let's see how we do that. So the first thing I'm going to do in Excel is just start out with my first year. So I'm just going to type a 1 there. And now my payment. So payment is also the cash flow. So here we're going to set equals, and I'm going to reference that $90, and I'm going to lock the cells here. So I'm hitting the F4 key, which puts a $sign on both the C and the 4. That way, if I copy the formula in the future, that cell reference is not going to change. So we have our $90 there. That's our cash flow, and that's our cash flow at time 1. And then we're going to do our present value at time 1. To do that, we can do 1 divided by 1 plus, and now we need to reference our discount rate. F4, remember, is our key to lock that. We hit enter, and we see 96 cents. So first is just a sanity check. Does it make sense that $1 in a year would be worth 96 cents? Yes, we know it needs to be worth something less than $1 because $1 today is worth $1. If we get it sometime in the future, well, it's not worth as much to us. So it should be worth a little bit less than $1. As our final step, we're going to multiply the payment times the present value of $1. We get 86.54, and we can set our answer cell equal to the present value of that payment. Answer 1 is correct. Now we can move on to the second tab. Again, the keyboard shortcut to do that is going to be Control Page Down. All right, now we're on our second tab. This isn't quite as big as I'd like it for you guys, so I'm actually going to zoom in. Control Alt plus is what allows me to zoom in there without having to use the mouse. All right, now here we have a little bit different problem. It's to calculate the present value of getting that same $90, but now we're going to get it every year for 16 years. This is called an annuity. We'll go through that formula in a little while. But what we have to do in this exercise is basically expand our last model over many cells. So one trick that you want to use whenever you can is always recycle past modeling if possible. So the first thing I'm going to do is actually going to go back to my past model with Control Page Down. I'm going to select this first row of formulas, go back to exercise 2, and paste them. All right, it's just going to save me time as far as having to retype those cells in. And in this case, the payment is still just fine. Notice it's still referencing our cash flow, again, on this tab rather than on the previous tab. Our present value of $1, that also looks good. It's referencing the correct discount rate. However, we're going to need to adapt this for when we go from year 1 down to year 2. So to do that, the first thing I'm going to do is set up my year. I know going from 1 to 2, I just need to add 1. So I'm going to do the previous cell plus 1. That way, when I drag it down or copy it down, it's going to update to 2, then 3, then 4, etc., all the way out to 16 years. Our payment, well, that looks okay. We can just use that same payment cell. Or alternatively, we can just copy that and paste it. It's going to be the same reference because we're going to have the same cash flow every year. Now, our next cell, the present value of $1, that one we can't use the same way, right? Because if $1 is worth 96 cents in 1 year, it needs to be worth less than 96 cents in 2 years. So we need 2 periods of discounting. And if we go to our formula, what that means is now we're going to delete our 1 here, and we're going to say that the present value of time 0 of a cash flow at time t is equal to cash flow T divided by 1 plus R raised to the T power. So that's what needs to change in our formula. So to do that in Excel, we're going to go in and we're going to use our caret and we're going to raise it to the number of years. So in this case, that's second year there. Now we see that it's worth 92 cents, which is less than 96 cents and makes sense to us. Finally, we're going to copy the present value of the payment. That's just multiplying the two cells together, and we can see that it's multiplying the payment in year 2 times the present value of $1 in year 2. Now we get $83.21. At this point, we can come over here and copy that entire row. Now we need to go down for 16 years. I'm not exactly sure how far that is. I got lucky on that one. All right, so now we have our model extended out. We can check this last row rather. In year 16, we're still discounting now 16 periods, and that's worth 53 cents, which is substantially less than that 96 cents of the value in 1 year. Our last step then is just to sum up all those present values of those cash flows, and we see that we get the correct answer. I'll go back so we can see it, 1,048.71.